Hello everyone, I am Julian Morris with the Channel 5 News. In the headlines, Venezuela's ambassador to Dominica advocates creation of a new financial system to protect countries from crippling U.S. economic sanctions. A former local government commissioner warns against using councils to promote one's political agenda. And a month of activities aimed at fostering stronger family linkages. The details of the news coming up.
I've worked in the service industry for 9 years, and I love it because of the people I get to meet every day. And that's one of the reasons I went back to college, to be better able to serve the tourists when they come to our destination and to be able to learn more about Dominica. I love learning more about Dominica because the more I learn, the more I can share. And I just want to share Dominica with everyone. I'm from Munjan, which is in the southeast of Dominica, and have lived overseas for 24 years. Living overseas has made me appreciate Dominica and all it has to offer, like taking a walk in the forest, going to the botanical garden, or even drinking fresh Sus water. I never thought I could miss green so much. Even as a student, I'm still directly linked to the tourism industry, from something as simple as giving directions to tourists, or even more involved, like an internship at a hotel, or a cleanup campaign with the HTA. As a tourism student, I have made the decision to take my place in this tourism industry. My name is Lucina Nicholas, and tourism is my business.
Here are some tips to reduce mosquito presence in and around your home. Keep water storage containers properly covered. Remove containers that can collect water from your surroundings. Keep garbage bins tightly covered. Pick up your litter and remove all tires from your yard. Keep gutters free of leaves and twigs to prevent stagnant water. Prevent Zika, dengue, and chikungunya. Fight the bite. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
This message is supported by Flow. First up in the news, those seeking to join the local government movement have been cautioned that the job is no walk in the park. Local Government Commissioner Glenroy Tuse made the remarks during the department's Long Service Award ceremony on Wednesday.
We must understand the task of being a councillor or community leader is tremendous. It takes a lot of sacrifice. Some of these individuals have to sacrifice, leave home their families to attend meetings, to participate in activities and development programs. They have to set aside their own other schedules. Some of them are gainfully employed otherwise. And so they have to set aside those events so as to ensure that they fulfill the mandate of the requirement of the good governance of the various village districts. And mindful, when they take an oath of office, the councillors, they take to serve well and faithfully. And that is important and critical. If you are to serve well and faithfully, it means, therefore, you have to be committed to the task. You've got to put your shoulders to the wheel, and you've got to ensure that you are, in fact, a team player as you seek to enhance the development prospects of your communities.
Among those awarded were former local government commissioner John Fontaine, who served in the department for over 40 years, Catherine Fontaine, who served for 33 years in the local government department, and Glenda Castle, who served as clerk in the Lubia Village Council for close to 29 years. Minister for Family and Gender Affairs, Catherine Daniel, reminded councillors to remain motivated and committed to the job at hand.
Oftentimes, when people work in communities, it's a thankless job for them. So with this recognition at this stage, it will give them the impetus to move on and to do better for their communities. Recognition is not an entitlement. It's not because you're in the council for long, they have to recognize you. There are some people who are in places for a long time, but they are dead wood in the places. They kill the industry. So it's not because you are there for a long time that you are entitled to it. And I think that this recognition would give credence to rewarding people for a job well done.
A move to develop stronger family linkages through a month of activities got underway Wednesday. Here is Andrea Louis with a report.
This as the Ministry of Family and Gender Affairs joined the rest of the world in observing International Day of Families earlier this week. Acting Director in the Bureau of Gender Affairs, Melissa Morgan, says the calendar of events will help build stronger, more resilient families.
We're hoping to introduce the concept of family resilience. For example, just the way that we look at certain things can impact how quickly we are able to recover from a disaster. For example, keeping a positive outlook. For example, we can have a disaster today, and I may look at it like it's the end of the world, but somebody may look at it, okay, we've gotten a few steps back, but we're going to bounce back. So just introducing these concepts of how you can build resiliency among your family in terms of strong parenting, even spirituality, maintaining a positive outlook. This is the type of messages that we hope that both the movies and the play can have.
The theme for International Day of Families is Families and Climate Action, focus on SDG 13. Morgan says the activities planned by the Ministry of Family Affairs will complement the overall national goal of developing climate resilience.
What we are trying to do is build resilient communities, and communities make up, the country. And what's in the communities is the families. So without strong families or strong family values or strong family structures, how then do you build resilience? So working on the family structures, how to the family togetherness, and making a much stronger bond so that, in times of adversity, they're able to stick together and deal with the issue together so that they're better able to recover quicker. Basically, in essence, resilience.
A lunch with vulnerable individuals, a play, Bouncing Back, directed by Steve Hyacinth, and a movie night are among the activities for the month.
One of the objectives of this day is this movie night is to encourage family togetherness and to encourage bonding and socializing of families. We don't get much time to do this. We all have busy schedules. We'll also be having a series of studio discussions, introducing the concept of family resilience, which SPS spoke to earlier, as well as 2 activities, Family Love Days. The ministry itself will be hosting a food and clothing drive, encouraging persons to donate food and clothing items so that we can give to our less vulnerable persons, especially, neglected children, the elderly, some of the most vulnerable persons in our communities.
The month of activities runs from 15th May to 22nd June. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
In other news now, Venezuela has launched a permanent campaign demanding the end of a U.S. economic blockade, which has led to a crisis situation in that country. Venezuela's ambassador to Dominica held a news conference on Thursday where he spoke of the impact of sanctions imposed on his country by the U.S. and its European allies. The ambassador pointed out that Venezuela was the target of U.S. government-led aggression. He said the economic blockade imposed on Venezuela is a criminal attack against the Venezuelan population. He says between 2014 to current, the U.S. government has executed several orders to punish and penalize the Venezuela economy. He says the U.S. has developed a strategy based on financial and economic blockade and financial confiscation of Venezuela's financial assets. But all of these actions by the U.S. and its allies are having serious implications for the people of Venezuela.
It's important for you to know that in Venezuela economic system is based upon the oil state company, which name is PDVSA. It's the same company that developed the strategy of PDV Caribe and PetroCaribe in the Eastern Caribbean countries and other Caribbean countries. It's a branch of PDVSA. In Venezuela, PDVSA is responsible for 95% of the incomes of Venezuelan economy. So it's a very important industry for us. That's the first attack we received from the United States government. They block PDVSA and they are avoiding the oil exports. So we're trying to find ways, because as a government we can't stop the economy. So we're trying to find ways on other sources that we have, and we were trying to get back our gold reserve from the Bank of England. But some kind of way they managed, and the Bank of England confiscated our gold reserves. So we won't be able to find some cash flow to pay, to keep fulfilling the necessities of Venezuelan population. But the newest one, and the one that is making this attack more criminal, is the prohibition of the use of bank accounts to import medicines, food, raw material for the industry. You see, the order was every bank related with American, Canadian, or British correspondent bank have received the order to forbid transfers of any bank account related to Venezuelan institutions. They scale in the financial attack. But the problem is that what is the purpose of this? What is United States financial attack purpose? Well, they develop a strategy aimed to cause suffering of the Venezuelan population. That's the target. They want to undermine the Venezuelan government's model by the suffering of the Venezuelan population. We have a model, as you might know, of equitable and social justice, that it was founded by Hugo Chavez with the Constitution 1999, and is maintained by the only president democratically elected in Venezuela, which is Nicolás Maduro Moros.
The U.S. economic blockade is having serious negative impact on the Venezuelan people, as outlined by the ambassador.
More than $5 billion American dollars from Venezuela are blocked right now in international banks. They are resources to buy food, to buy medicines, to buy devices for healthcare, to buy raw material equipment for the industry, to provide the needs of Venezuelan population. More than 5 billion. You see, in this one, you can see a list of banks. We try to classify from the one who have more assets and the others, you know. But more than 41 banks and institutions have resources of Venezuela frozen. We are not able to use them. Novo Banco from Portugal have more than $1.5 billion frozen. We cannot buy medicines. But then they go to media network and say that the government of Venezuela is inefficient of taking care of the population, of the health care. But they're blocking us. And not too much people knows about this. That's the purpose of this press conference. This press conference is trying to be made in all the embassies around the world so people start to realize what is the United States attacks in Venezuela.
The United States, supported by other international banks, have confiscated or frozen over $5.4 billion of Venezuela's money. That's money the Venezuelan government could be using right now to care for its people. Still with Venezuela, the government there says its social protection programs are under attack by the United States.
The Venezuelan ambassador to Dominica told a news conference on Thursday the punitive measures imposed on Venezuela's state-owned oil company, PDVSA, amount to an act of aggression by the United States and also violates the UN Charter. He says the United States sanctions and economic blockade are geared at dismantling Venezuela's social protection programs.
Since last year, PDVSA is unable to continue executing its humanitarian assistance programs for health reasons in cases of special complexity. You see, PDVSA is such a big company, so important in Venezuela, that we develop programs, social programs, most of them in healthcare treatment, that are based upon the accounts that PDVSA has around the world. Because they are blocked, PDVSA is not able to pay, so more than 500,000 patients, I'm talking nationwide, with pathologies such as HIV, cancer, Parkinson's syndrome, and epilepsy, they cannot be treated right now. They cannot have the medicines. because we are a bloc, and the state cannot provide the same services that we used to provide to these patients. So I ask you, do they have to die for the interests of the U.S. government against the government of Venezuela? Is that the purpose? Is that what the United States is doing to Venezuela? So cause the suffering of the population and to try to simulate that Nicolás Moros, the democratically elected president, is not able to maintain population in Venezuela. There are some people waiting for surgeries and treatments associated with transplant of pancreas, liver, and bone marrow. They're waiting in a bed, in a hospital. They can't get it. They're innocent people. They are not related with government, but they are suffering the strikes, the financial strikes, and block, economic block. That's why we believe economic blockade is an instrument of war that the U.S. government is using to fulfill population suffering and to fulfill the main goal that is to overcome the current government democratically elected in Venezuela.
The U.S. is not alone in this effort. In October 2017, the Swiss bank UBS blocked the payment of resources for the purchase of vaccines.
They know we are buying vaccines. In Venezuela, we have once a year, at least once a year, we used to have programs for children, the vaccination of children, so to avoid epidemics and ills, you know. It was a common. But all the vaccines, we don't have the technology inside the country, we had to buy it outside the country. They know that the purpose of that payment was for that, they block it. They don't care about the people. They don't care about the suffering of the people. We went unable to buy in that way, but we won't stop. We find other ways. But we delayed the program for 4 months. And it's outrageous. It's dangerous to delay those kind of programs. In 2017, international banks blocked the payment of $9 million for the purchase of dialysis supplies. I don't know if you are familiarized with that kind of illness, but these people, there are more than 15,000 hemodialysis patients in Venezuela that they need to plug to a machine to clean their blood, to survive.
The lives of Venezuelans who have traveled abroad for specialized medical treatment are also at serious risk because of the economic blockade by the United States and its allies. 25 patients, mostly children, currently in Italy awaiting bone marrow transplants are also affected by the actions taken by the U.S. and its allies in freezing Venezuela's financial assets.
Giovanni Figuera was 6 years old. He died 2 days ago. He was suffering from leukemia. His father says finding medicines to treat him had become a daily struggle.
I have no words. We were trying to find the things he needed, the medicines, trying to keep him happy. I have no words.
Venezuela had signed an agreement with Italy that allowed children like Giovanni to receive a bone marrow transplant abroad, but Giovanni never made it.
Giovanni was part of a group of around 30 children who were awaiting a bone marrow transplant. That whole program depended from Venezuela's state-owned company PDVSA. The problem is PDVSA is currently being affected by sanctions imposed by the United States, and that's why the Venezuelan government is saying that the United States is to blame for Giovanni's death.
You are watching Channel 5 News. We'll have more after this.
Persons with TB sneeze or cough, healthy persons nearby breathe in the droplets and the bacteria can lodge in their lungs. People with weakened immune systems such as HIV/AIDS, alcohol and drug users, smokers, children, and the elderly are most susceptible. Persons with a cough should take precautions when in contact with persons in public places. Cover your mouth when sneezing and coughing. Visit your doctor or health center. You must complete your treatment. TB can be cured even with HIV. Be responsible. Help stop the spread of TB and HIV. Protect yourself and others.
Former local government commissioner McDonald Thomas has warned councillors not to use their office to settle political disagreements. We go again to Andrea Louis for more.
Thomas was speaking at the Local Government Awards ceremony on Wednesday. The former commissioner says the council should be used as a tool to build a community, not promote political agendas among the people.
When a person is sworn in as a councillor, all other distinctions such as religious and political affiliations become secondary, and the primary focus must be on carrying out his or her duties as the community's government with distinction and within the parameters of the law. So it is disturbing and outright insulting to the status and stature of local authorities when councils become arenas for settling political squabbles. In fact, based on the community development model of local government here, people are supposed to present themselves for service on local authorities as community members who are interested in the development of good government of the community, nothing else.
Local Government Month is celebrating its 30th anniversary this year, while the Local Government Department is recognizing 45 years in existence. Thomas believes the time has come for local government reform in order to advance the work of the department.
It is generally accepted that the current laws under which local authorities operate are not adequate. They are at best archaic and at worst inimical to the effective operation of a modern local government system. For this reason, the need for local government reform had been presented all over the 30 years as a priority for the advancement of local government in Dominica. Unfortunately, after much effort and the investment of substantial human and financial resources, there has not been much progress in this regard.
According to the former commissioner, the last time a significant move was made towards local government reform was in 2008, when consultants were hired by the Caribbean Development Bank to conduct an exercise in Dominica. Findings were presented to the relevant authorities.
The outputs of this consultancy consisted of the following: a draft policy and institutional framework for local government, draft revised Village Council Act, a draft Consolidated Municipalities Act, and a draft amendments to what was then the Carib Reserved Act. I do lament, and it's unfortunate, that a decade later, no significant progress has been made in using these instruments to strengthen local authorities and in equipping them to better undertake their functions as development institutions.
And Venezuela continues to struggle against the impact of sanctions and economic blockade by the U.S. and its allies. The Venezuelan ambassador believes the actions of the U.S. and its allies are having such an impact because of Venezuela's participation in the U.S. financial system. He believes it's time for emerging countries to set up their own financial system to break free of the U.S. stranglehold on countries like Venezuela. Already, Venezuela has resorted to Turkey, Russia, and China to maintain its economy.
We need to find ways to survive, we need to maintain the economy of Venezuela. So we need to go further. But the system, the problem is that all the financial system, the current financial system, is based upon the financial system of the United States. Every bank around the world has to be with financial system of the United States because of the currency. US dollars is a domain around the world. Euros is a domain around the world. Everybody that wants to do purchase or transfer money, is related with that system, so they have the power to block it. So until, and we strongly believe that soon enough, Russia, China, India, and Turkey and other powerful countries, emerging countries, they're going to develop a new financial system, because that's the only way we can be free. We can have self-determination, because if we don't develop as a world a new financial system, United States government has the power to block any country they want to.
Here are some tips to reduce mosquito presence in and around your home. Keep water storage containers properly covered. Remove containers that can collect water from your surroundings. Keep garbage bins tightly covered. Pick up your litter and remove all tires from your yard. Keep gutters free of leaves and twigs to prevent stagnant water. Prevent Zika, dengue, and chikungunya. Fight the bite. This is a public service announcement from the Dominica Red Cross.
This message is supported by Flow. To end the news, a look again at the headlines. Venezuela's ambassador to Dominica advocates creation of a new financial system to protect countries from crippling U.S. economic sanctions. A former local government commissioner warns against using councils to promote one's political agenda. And a month of activities aimed at fostering stronger family linkages. Feel free to contact us at news@mapin2k4.com. You may access our past newscasts on our YouTube channel. On behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris. Thank you for watching. Join us tomorrow.